¿Cómo están? Hoy vamos a trabajar con verbos reflexivos or reflexive verbs. So what are reflexive verbs? Reflexive verbs are verbs that indicate that someone has done something to or for him or herself. So let's look to the examples to be a little more clear. We're going to be working with the verb lavar, which means to wash, and then the word pelo, hair. So first example says, Rocío se lava el pelo. Lava, like you can see, it's conjugated according to our subject, Rocío. And it's also accompanied by the pronoun se. Why is this? The se is the reflexive part of the verb. Rocío washes her hair. Why is it reflexive? It's because the hair, el pelo, is part of Rocío. So since it's part of Rocío, she is washing it to or for herself, right? This makes it reflexive. However, there are verbs like lavar that can be both reflexive and non-reflexive. It depends on how we use the verbs. If the verb acts upon an object on another subject, on the object or something rather than the subject, the verb is not going to be reflexive. If the verb, the action, acts upon the person, it will be reflexive. So let's look at our examples. Daniela se lava el pelo. Daniela se lava el pelo. El pelo is part of Daniela. So the action of lavar, it's being done to or for herself, right? She is doing it to herself or for herself. It's reflexive, which is demonstrated by having the reflexive pronoun se. We still conjugate lava according to our subject, Daniela, third person. Let's look at our next example. Daniela lava el carro. El carro, it's not part of Daniela. It's a separate object that it's not herself. Therefore, we still use the verb lavar, just like we did before. We conjugate according to our subject, Daniela, third person, lava. The only difference that we don't use the reflexive pronoun. Why? Because it's not done to or for herself. It's done for another object. How can we identify reflexive verbs? Well, reflexive verbs are easy to identify in the indicative infinitive form. Why? Because we have the verb in its infinitive form, lavar, and ending in ar, dormir, and then in ir, sorry, and sentir, ir. Remember that our verbs can end in ar, er, or ir. So in this case, we have ar and ir. Lavarse. We have the verb in its indicative form, infinitive form, and attach se at the end. Dormir, infinitive form, and attach se at the end. Sentirse, infinitive form, and have se attached at the end. Se is gonna be our conjugation for the reflexive pronouns in the infinitive form. However, no, like you can tell here, that when we conjugate these reflexive verbs, we have to do a few things. First thing, it's like you can tell in our example, we have to take the se, we detach it from the end of the verb and place it in front of it. Also note that this reflexive pronoun is going to be conjugated according to the subject of the sentence, who is performing this action. So in this case, is Daniela. Se ends up being the same thing as the infinitive form. However, they can change. Let's look. Let's see if the action, instead of being done by Daniela to her hair, it's done by me, yo, to myself. It will be yo me lavo el pelo. What can we see here? For one, se changes to me. Sorry. Here we have me, because it's not Daniela anymore, it's not she, it's me, I. Yo me lavo el pelo. Then lavar changes the ending to O. Why? Because that's the conjugation of the present tense. So we're going to conjugate the verb, what's left after we take the se, as any other regular present tense verbs. Let's take dormir. Dormir is one of those verbs that have a stem change to O changes to U. Yo me duermo. So we're going to keep those stem changes still happening. We're going to make sure that we conjugate that reflexive pronoun according to the subject, yo me duermo. And let's look at sentirse. Sentirse is another of those verbs that have a stem changer. Let's use the pronoun nosotros. Nosotros nos sentimos felices, happy. See, nosotros, then we have nos, sentimos. What happens here? Even though it's the same changer, the rule says that the nosotros form doesn't have that same change. Tú te sientes feliz. Notice that we still have the to, the subject, the reflexive pronoun changes to te, and then sientes. That will be the conjugations because that stem changer, that e changes to ie. Feliz because it's singular, and nosotros, since it's plural, will be felices. Okay, let's look at how to conjugate these verbs a little more up close. We're going to use the verb cepillarse, to brush one's hair. Again, like we have said, we have the verb ending in AR plus the se, that's our infinitive form of the verb, cepillarse. We have yo, me, tú, te, él, ella, se, usted, se, nosotros, nos, ellos, ellas, se, ustedes, se. So the form él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, ustedes are gonna share the same reflexive pronoun conjugation as well as the infinitive form. I brush myself, even though it's not gonna translate as I brush myself, that's what it means, that you do it to yourself. You brush yourself, he, she brushes themselves, her or himself, you brush yourself, we brush ourselves. So if we want to put it in a sentence, what will we do? This is what we will do. We'll have, let's use él. Él se cepilla. We can brush our teeth, right? Él se cepilla los dientes. So let's look at this. We have él, or subject, the reflexive pronoun according to your subject. Cepilla, it's the conjugation of the present tense according to our subject, cepilla. And then we have los dientes. He brushes his teeth. Okay, guys. I hope this was clear, but if not, please be free to post questions on our discussion board. Email me, and we'll try to find other ways to make this more clear. But thank you. Have a good one.